Hello and welcome back to Adventurous Way. We are here at the property. It has snowed the last few days, so we're here to give you a tour of the property in winter and tell you why we're not sticking around and instead we're heading south.
Are you going under or over?
I'll lift up to you.
Aww, it's
After
nice.
you, madam.
Thank you.
Doesn't lift very high and I think I've just poured snow down your neck. But... graceful. This section behind me here looks a little bit different to last time. This is the area where we put down all the wood chips, and that is where hopefully in spring we're going to be parking our RV.
The biggest change is that we got a sawmill, and with that we have started building various things around the property, and one of those things is the roof for the firewood pile, and we built that off offcuts from milling the logs.
As we're walking up the driveway, we're seeing loads of animal tracks crossing over, and we've just spotted these ones here, and they continue up this way. They look pretty fresh and they're big. We think this is possibly a moose. I don't know, if you know your animal footprints, let us know what this is. So we're standing here at the section where the driveway finishes, and quite a lot has changed here since fall. One of the biggest changes is that we got the sawmill, and with that we've been able to mill a load of lumber. You can see here the 2x4s, and these are things that we milled to build our solar kiln with next spring when we return. And they're actually all resting, they're all stacked up and resting on the solar kiln floor assembly that we built. That was a perfect, flat, nice level sort of area that we were able to stack all that lumber on, so that was great. You've seen the equipment trailer before. That's sitting here for the winter, and that again is just being used as some flat storage for now. And then the last thing to point out, we are trying to make the best use possible of every log, and with that we're saving all of the offcuts. We're trying to find things to do with them. One of the things we're doing is, rather than just taking off a big chunk at the top, taking it off in 1/2-inch slices, and that lets us use these for kind of rough side projects. Like this box behind me that Diana built using the steel crate that the sawmill trailer came in, and some of those offcuts to make a little box that we can keep all the small pieces of wood in. We also took the time to drag all of the logs that were alongside the driveway that got felled when we were clearing the driveway, and we've stacked all of those in 2 big piles that you can see behind me. They are sitting there, you can barely tell with the snow, but they're sitting there raised up on some rails and big spruce logs that we had. The pile on the left is all the pine. This is what's left after we've already milled a load of the 2x4s. The pile on the right is a selection of the hardwood logs that we had as well. And there's a whole selection of lengths in there, everywhere from about 8 or 9 feet up to about 17 feet. However, there's one log missing. You may remember we had this monster log that we had from the driveway clearing. That's what you can see behind me here. It's about 17 feet long, 30-inch diameter at the fat end, and about 26 at the thin end. It was too big for our tractor to lift as is. Even if we cut it in half, it would have been too heavy for the tractor to lift just an 8 or 9 foot section. So instead, we just raised it up on these little logs here, using actually the ramps, the steel ramps from the equipment trailer, and just kind of rolled it with the tractor. And so we'll worry about what we do with that in spring. Where we're standing right now is, roughly speaking, where the buildings are going to start on our site. The mechanical building that we've talked about before, which is where all the utilities will terminate, that's going to be kind of back over here in these trees that we'll need to clear. Meanwhile, the house is going to be kind of back this way, sort of behind and through past that slash pile there. We have been trying to clear a load of these slash piles as we go. We just didn't get a chance to get to this one. When we contacted to try and rent the wood chipper that we'd used before, it wasn't available for a couple of weeks, and then we just kind of ran out of time. But if you've been following along on our blog, you may know that we are looking at getting a wood chipper attachment for the back of our tractor. And if we do, this will be one of the first piles we look to chip. back out here on our trails on the property, and these have changed quite a lot since fall. They're all under snow. We spent quite a bit of time actually laying down the wood chips on here, smoothing them out, making them look really nice, and just a few days ago when we were last here at the property you could still see all the wood chips. It was looking fantastic. Now covered in snow. The snow that fell a couple of days ago was like a really wet, heavy snow, and throughout the area, and particularly here, we're noticing a number of branches hanging really low, or like you can see here, branches just snapped off trees just because of the weight of that snow. This is something that come spring will come out and clear. We've been joking with our architects because on our site plan, the pond that you can see me isn't called pond on the site plan, it's called ice rink, and yeah, I can see why. It's a project a long way down our to-do list. It's not a priority to work on the pond for us just yet, but maybe one day we'll turn this into a beautiful little area and go ice skating in the winter.
I hope you enjoyed our tour of the property. This is actually the last time we're going to be here on the property because now we're going to head south.
Yeah, in 3 days we're going to be leaving Vermont, leaving the campground that we've been in for over a year now, and heading south looking for some warmer weather.
Yeah, and there are a couple of reasons for that. The campground is about an hour away in good conditions from the property. So in winter, it's just more slower going because you have to go mountain passes.
And even when the roads are ploughed, which to be fair they've been really well ploughed the whole time we've been here, it's still slower going. There's still icy sections, you just got to take it easy and take it steady. Also, if we want to leave really early in the morning to get here, that would be tricky. Heading back in the dark on those roads isn't a ton of fun, and the sun sets here at about 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So just that drive back and forth during the winter isn't something we're super keen to do.
And then we do that drive and then we arrive here, and it only makes sense to come here if we spend the whole day here. But spending a whole day here in the winter, in the cold, with no shelter, it's just tough. It's harder. And we also don't really have much to do here over the winter because we don't have the current use exemption, which means we can't cut down the trees for the house site. And also our wastewater permit and zoning permit are not done yet. So we really can't really do that much over the winter.
Yeah, I think if we were here, I think about the only thing we would be able to really do is probably just mill some more of those logs. And even that's going to get harder with the logs being frozen. We'll run out of space to stack them on as easily. So there's just not a lot of useful stuff that we can do here. And we have an RV and we have wheels for a reason, and we want to use those wheels. We've been in one place for far too long now.
Yeah.
So it's time to head south. We are leaving Vermont in 3 days' time. We don't know yet where we're going. We're not looking for like really warm weather, like 70s down in Florida or something. We're thinking maybe like Virginia type area, just where it's far south enough that it's just a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
It's not sort of 0 Fahrenheit overnight in the coldest nights. It's maybe just below freezing, and maybe like 50s during the day, not 20s during the day.
Yeah.
So that would be just a little bit nicer in the RV.
And we spent the last winter in the RV and it went fine, and we enjoyed skiing and the snow and so on. But we'll have plenty of winters in Vermont, so we thought that this winter, since there isn't really much we can do, we'll head south. Also, we can't really bring the RV on the property in winter. It's just much harder. We don't have a well, we don't have a septic, we'd have to run generator, and not much, solar in winter. But we will try to bring the RV here in the spring.
Yep. So when we leave in a few days' time, that will pretty much be the last time we're here on the property until spring, although we do have a plan to possibly make a little special visit here in maybe January.
Something like that. We'll see how it turns out.
But you'll have to stay tuned if you want to see why we might be coming back in January.
So if you enjoyed this video and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so that you can follow along our journey in building our dream home on 40 acres in Vermont.
And we will see you in the next video.